Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. President Tinubu meets Christian leaders in Plateau states, says his vision to unite Nigeria is sacrosanct. Japan to get its first ever female prime minister as Nae Takaichi secures ruling party's leadership. And US President Donald Trump welcomes Hamas' response to peace plan. President Bola Tinubu says he is sticking to his long-term vision to unite Nigeria, irrespective of the religious and cultural differences amongst citizens. The president, who said this as he met with religious leaders in Plateau State, assured of government's efforts to defeat terrorism and other forms of insecurity in Nigeria. State House correspondent Musbah Danwahab reports. All right, we'll get that report to you in our subsequent bulletins. In the meantime, now, Japan is set to have its first ever female prime minister after conservative Nae Takaichi won the leadership of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. The 64-year-old, inspired by Margaret Thatcher, vowed to lead a new era for the party and tackle the mountain of work ahead to regain public trust. Takaichi defeated 44-year-old Shinjiro Koizumi in a runoff and is expected to be approved by Parliament later this month, becoming Japan's fifth prime minister in 5 years. Her victory comes as the LDP faces falling support and rising competition from smaller parties. During the campaign, Takaichi called for a review of immigration policies and pledged aggressive economic measures while softening her stance on China. Analysts, however, warn that hopes for gender equality reforms may be misplaced, noting her limited focus on women's rights. Nae Takaichi's rise marks a historic moment for Japan, but as she prepares to take office, all eyes will be on how she tackles the nation's mounting challenges and whether she can revive the fortunes of the ruling party. Peter Mutharika has been sworn in for a second term as president of Malawi, marking a dramatic political comeback for the 85-year-old leader who previously governed the southern African nation from 2014 to 2020. Mutharika secured a commanding victory in the September 16th presidential election, winning 56% of the votes to defeat incumbent Lazarus Chakwera, who polled 33%. The election marked the fourth time the two rivals face off in the ballot box. In his inaugural speech, President Mutharika pledged to tackle corruption, restore economic stability, and rebuild public trust in government institutions. He acknowledged that Malawi faces daunting challenges, including surging inflation, high unemployment, and declining investor confidence. His return to power follows years of economic hardship under the Chakwera administration, which many voters blame for deepening poverty in one of the world's least developed nations. Analysts say the president's biggest test will be to deliver on his promises of reform and transparency while steering Malawi out of its current economic crisis. In the meantime, Egypt has accused Ethiopia of being reckless and irresponsible, blaming unilateral water releases for severe flooding in Sudan and raising fears for Egyptian communities along the Nile. Habibat Aminu has details.
Tensions between Egypt and Ethiopia have flared once again over the management of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam Gerd, as Egypt accuses its upstream neighbor of reckless and irresponsible actions that have led to devastating floods in Sudan and raised fears for Egyptian communities along the Nile. The $5 billion GERD, inaugurated on September 9, is Africa's largest hydroelectric project and can hold 74 billion cubic meters of water. Egypt alleges that Ethiopia opened the dam's gates without coordination, causing water surges that combined with heavy rainfall, leading to overflooding of villages and farmlands in Sudan. Egypt has activated emergency protocols as water levels are expected to rise through October, with evacuations ordered in riverside communities. Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati warned that Egypt retains its right to defend its waters interests by all means as diplomatic tensions over the Nile intensify. Habibat Amin, NTA News.
And Habibat Aminu also reports that the world is closer than ever to peace in the Middle East following Hamas' conditional acceptance of a US-brokered peace plan aimed at ending the conflict that has raged for nearly 3 years.
In a video address from Washington, President Donald Trump hailed Hamas' response to his peace proposal, saying global and regional actors were united in their desire to end the war. Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end, Trump said, and thanked Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many other countries that helped with the plan. The U.S. leader described the development as very special and unprecedented, stressing that the breakthrough would be handled fairly for all sides. He also highlighted the urgent need to secure the release of hostages, expressing hope that they would soon be reunited with their families. As the conflict nears its third year since it erupted in 2003, Israel's military says Chief of Staff Rav Olaf Ayel-Zamar has instructed forces to prepare for the first phase of the proposed agreement. Trump said negotiators are now focused on finalizing the details of the deal, a move that could mark a turning point in efforts to end one of the region's most protected conflicts. Habibat Amin, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the United States' ongoing shutdown is to stretch into next week after a failed Senate vote. Senators on Friday voted for the fourth time to reject a stopgap Republican funding fix to reopen the U.S. government, ensuring that the federal shutdown will extend into next week. Non-essential operations have been grinding to a halt since Wednesday, and with Congress adjourning after rejecting the latest attempt at a solution, hopes were dashed that the crisis could be resolved before the weekend. Senate Democrats blame Republicans as the shutdown goes on. Now, Nigeria as a federation operates 3 tiers of governments comprising federal, state and local governments. Local governments is the third tier of governments that is closer to the people at the grassroots level with the aim of engendering developments among the people. In this report, Dele Atumbi of our Judiciary Desk takes a look at the constitutional roles of local governments in Nigeria and its financial autonomy in view of the recent Supreme Court verdict.
The fourth schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, is explicit on the functions of local governments as the third tier of government. This ranges from construction and maintenance of roads, street lightings, public highways, parks, public conveniences, as well as the establishment and regulation of slaughterhouses, slaughter slabs, market and motor parks.
Maintenance of primary, adult and vocational education, the development of agriculture.
Apart from these, the 3 tiers have various constitutional duties assigned to each of them for the overall and even development of the country. The concept of the creation of local governments in Nigeria as the third tier is to bring government closer to the people at the grassroots. To make the local government achieve its aims and objectives, several reforms, particularly that of 1976, have been carried out. These reforms are aimed at accelerating development, enhancing local population participation, and holding those in power accountable for their roles in governance. Under the 1979 Constitution, funds meant for a 16 local government as at that time came directly to the accounts of the third tier of government from the Federation account.
Yes, 1976 reforms were introduced by General Olusegun Obasanjo, promulgated local government reforms through the guidelines on local government administration. That in itself now was the foundation, the bedrock of the modern local governments that we now have.
In future, when amendments are being done, they should be able to look at all this so that we can resolve and minimize unnecessary conflict.
Section 162, subsection 6 of the 1999 Constitution established state joint local government account where funds from the federation account meant for local governments shall be paid into. This constitutional provision is inconsistent with the Supreme Court verdict on local government financial autonomy handed down in July 2024.
This created a problem. I was in the matter. I argued the case of one of the parties, the state government, that said what the Attorney General was praying the Supreme Court to do was largely unconstitutional.
But if you go by the direct, literal, original, intentional interpretation of the Constitution on the matter, the correct state of the position is in the minority judgment.
For accelerated development at the grassroots, some of the people who spoke with NTA News suggested constitutional amendment. Going by the law as it is, the local government financial autonomy is subject to the amendment of the provision of Section 162, subsection 8 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi.
The Chief Judge of Bayelsa State, Justice Matilda Ayemiyeye, wants judicial officers to be impartial, truthful, and conduct proceedings with dignity to uphold the tenets of justice. The Chief Judge gave the charge during the 2025-2026 legal year ceremony in Yenagoa. Doris Sakumonye reports.
The legal year ceremony provides the judiciary the opportunity to take stock of achievements recorded and challenges, as well as fostering ways of surmounting them. Chief Judge of Bayelsa State Justice Matilda Ayemiyeye, while assessing the year under review, said the judiciary has recorded success as 3,068 cases were disposed of due to the commitment of judicial officers and motivation. The Chief Judge said staff training and appointment of 2 judicial officers to the position of Senior Advocate of Nigeria was a plus to the state. Justice Matilda stressed that the use of e-filing technology has helped to speed the court process while calling on officers to reduce the unnecessary delays in the justice delivery process.
It reminds us that justice is not an event, but a continuous duty. Through this ceremony, we acknowledge the immense responsibility that comes with the sacred trust reposed in us by the people we are called to serve. It is a day when we recommit to impartiality, diligence, and fairness.
Governor of Bayelsa State Doye Diri said the state has enjoyed synergy between the 3 tiers of government, acknowledging the judiciary uprightness to his administration. He enjoined lawyers to seek God's wisdom in the discharge of their duties while pledging his support and success for the new legal year.
We will leave the rest for God. The Bible says that the watchman watches his veil, God himself is not there. So we'll continue to invite God into the little efforts that we are putting in terms of security, so that our judiciary, the judges, the magistrates, and all of those working will feel safe.
The Chief Judge of Bayelsa State Justice Matilda Ayemiyeye had earlier led judicial officers, executive, on a Thanksgiving service to usher in the new legal year to God for direction and progress. In Yenagoa, Doris Akomonye, NTA News.
The Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Salako, has directed key federal research institutes in the health sector, including the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Developments, the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, and the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment to allocate resources to support the groundbreaking research into potential cure for brain cancer. The directive follows the discovery of a molecule extracted from a plant in northwestern Nigeria found to eliminate brain cancer cell lines within 48 hours at a specific dosage, especially glioblastoma multiforme, a deadly form of brain cancer. The minister has pledged government support and established a committee to accelerate developments in the pharmaceutical sector. The research institutions, in turn, have pledged support with plans for collaboration, training, and clinical studies. This discovery, they believe, could mark a significant milestone in Nigeria's biomedical research landscape, potentially leading to a locally derived treatments for brain cancer. This is the news on NTA International. More reports in a moment. Stay with us. You're welcome back. President Bola Tinubu has extolled the virtues of late Mama Lydia Yilbada Goshwe, the mother of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Professor Nintawe Yilbada. The president gave the commendation during a funeral service in honor of the departed matriarch in Jos, where he stressed that his vision to unite Nigeria is sacrosanct.
Professor Nintawe, our party chairman, you are a mother who lived a good life, and the fulfillment of life is to leave a good name behind, a good sibling. You are a good man. That is why we decided that you will lead us as our chairman. Just live a dedicated life to humanity and dedicate ourselves to God Almighty. The turnout must be a way to promote unity, contentment, satisfaction, and productive leadership for our nation.
On behalf of the peace-loving people of Plateau State, I wholeheartedly welcome you, Mr. President, and all these great Nigerians to our dear state. We are sincerely grateful that out of your busy schedules, which we have seen this week, you have done us the honor of gracing the final interment service of our dear mother, Nana Lydia Yilwada Goshwe. Your esteemed presence means a lot to the immediate Yilwada family, but much more to the Plateau people in general.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for all that you've done. The fact that going by all the conventional processes of producing the APC national chairman, who are all former governors, who are all over 60s, you gave me the chance. You believe in me. You trust in me. I recall the last word my mom offered to me. After praying, she said, I hope you keep the trust that this man has in you.
On security now, Defense Headquarters says troops across different theaters operations have rescued 180 kidnapped victims, arrested 450 terrorists, bandits and other criminal elements, while 39 others surrendered in various operations conducted in September 2025. Statements by the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kangi, notes that the troops also recovered 63 arms, close to 5,000 rounds of ammunition, while troops of Operation Delta Safe destroyed 41 illegal refining sites and foiled oil theft valued at over 100 million naira. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari has called on investors to seize opportunities within Nigeria's agribusiness sector and invest in the industry. The minister made the remarks during a tour of farm plantations in Bauchi State. Musa Baba Aliyu has more.
This is the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari interacting with farmers in rural community in Bauchi State. He is inquiring about the 2025 farming season in the area and the prices of food in the rural community located a few kilometers from the state capital. Tasio Monkaila told the minister that they recorded a good harvest this year, especially in rice and sesame. The minister visited this farm belonging to the former Bauchi State Governor Adamu Ma'azu. The former governor is currently cultivating 2,670 hectares of maize and rice. The minister inspected more than 1,000 hectares of his farm. He commended the initiative and assured that the ministry will support both large and small-scale farmers under the Renewed Hope agenda.
You could see even beyond the hills are all cultivated. So this is really something that is targeted at the food security initiative of Mr. President. That clarion call.
The visit is part of the minister's initiative to encourage farmers and investors who have joined the Nigeria Agribusiness Project.
For this scale, you see, if we are to do it manually, it takes us another 3 months to harvest. And it's not easy with wildlife, fire, theft, and what have you, insecurity. It is better immediately they are ready, we get combined harvesters to come and do it.
The minister had earlier visited Nasarawa State this year. From Bauchi, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And as part of its efforts to deliver the mandate of President Bola Tinubu on food sufficiency, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has distributed farming inputs to smallholder farmers in Adamawa State. Mary Adamu George reports that the initiative is to boost agricultural production across the country.
This is the thing we look forward that will help in boosting food production and food security in our society and Nigeria as a whole.
We are very happy. We are glad, sir. This is first of its kind. We've never get any assistance like this one.
30 groups and associations were those who form part of the first phase of the distribution exercise. The foremost concern on food security of the federal government is the facilitation of agro inputs and basic farm machinery to small-scale farmers who are constrained by high market costs of essential farming inputs. Minister of Agriculture, Food and Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari at the flag off, represented by Director Planning and Policy Coordination, Omar Salisu Mohammed, said administration of President Tinubu has demonstrated total political will to transform the agriculture sector through synergies with non-governmental organizations, private sector for economic growth, job creation and poverty reduction. He assured that government is on course to realign existing initiatives and programs in line with the mandate of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to address some of the challenges of farmers to make food available, accessible and affordable to all Nigerians.
This input is given to farmers in Adamawa State free of charge.
State Coordinator, Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Yola Salihu Musa Tenexo, called on farmers to engage in group associations to benefit from such gestures. Beneficiaries sign an undertaking of collecting the items, allocation letters issued, and templates presented of growth enhancer, selective rice bissel, water pumps, winnow machines, knapsack sprayers, and Yola. Mary Adamu George, NTA News.
And this is where we end the news at this time on NTA International. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Dennis Adegunloye.